Roxanne Paltoff disappeared on Friday, July 7, 2006. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Roxanne Paltoff's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenage girl leaves a motel one summer night and never returns.
She left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse behind, and I knew at that moment something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Could the items she left behind hold clues to her disappearance?
I know Roxanne's clothing, and I've never seen these clothes. It wasn't even Roxanne's size.
I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're gonna find Roxanne.
Or will the results of DNA tests reveal what really happened?
And I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her.
July 3rd, 2006. It's a humid Monday morning in Austin, Texas. 18-year-old Roxanne Paltoff is looking forward to the July 4th holiday. This Independence Day marks her and her boyfriend Lewis's 2-year anniversary. And after the fireworks, they're planning on spending time together in a local motel. She returns home to pick up some additional belongings.
She came in the house, rushed in, and she goes, I'll be home in a couple of days. And I said, okay. And I said, just, call me. And what she did, always, she called me every day.
Roxanne is the much-loved oldest daughter of Liz Harris's 5 children.
Roxanne had a beautiful smile. She had a wonderful personality. She had a very good heart. She would give you the shirt off her back.
Mama, come down here.
Go ahead, Roxanne.
Come down here with me.
I will.
Get together. Roxanne, come on.
Roxanne, jump way out. See rocks right there. You'll hit them. Full of life. She loved her brothers and sisters. She would do anything for them.
We went to the same high school, and everybody knew Roxanne, and they knew us because of Roxanne. We were the Paltoff girls. She was a big sister. She was the one that everybody looked up to.
After some difficult years in high school, Roxanne has become a hard worker with new ambitions.
She started doing her GED, and they have a program where they help you find work, and she got a job as an intern at a florist shop. She was growing up, becoming a young woman, making her own money, meeting new people.
She came in and applied for a job here. She was interested in floral design, and she really blossomed into this beautiful designer, very creative, really talented girl who got along with all of the employees very well.
She had everything lined up. She worked so hard to get where she was. She was back on track. She had got back into school. She wanted to get things right. She wanted to make her mom proud.
On the afternoon of Friday, July 7th, Roxanne calls her mother and asks to spend one more night with her boyfriend Lewis. Roxanne's mom's not thrilled, but knows Roxanne's having a good time swimming and sunbathing before school and work resume on Monday.
And I told her that we're going shopping, and I said, why don't you just come on home and we can leave early in the morning. She goes, no, we're already here, and I'm just gonna stay the night, and I promise I'll be home early in the morning. We'll go shopping. I was disappointed, you're choosing Lewis over your family. I said, okay, fine, be that way, Roxanne. I just had like a little attitude, But she loved him. I mean, that's it. You want to spend time with the ones you love.
Roxanne's mother often thinks back to that conversation and wishes it had gone differently. She also wishes she had listened to her instincts and told Roxanne to just come home that day.
That was actually the last words I said to her before she disappeared, and I've always felt guilty about that.
By noon Saturday, Liz Harris is still waiting for her daughter to come home. She tells herself that Roxanne will walk in at any moment and flash her vibrant smile. But the minutes tick by, and there is still no sign of Roxanne.
We waited around for her, but I don't think we tried calling her. We just thought she just dissed us, that she was spending time with her boyfriend.
I wasn't going to stop our plans just because she didn't make it here. You know, she would have made it home eventually. I'm not going to go calling her and say, where are you? We just went on out to the outlet mall and spent several hours out there. And it was going to be a family adventure, you know. Mom don't have money very often, so let's go shopping, you know.
When they get home later that day, Roxanne's mother, Liz, and her family get a call, but it's not from Roxanne.
Lewis called me. It was late afternoon, and he had asked me, have you seen Roxanne? And then I said, what do you mean, have I seen Roxanne? She's been with you. Where is Roxanne?
Lewis tells Liz Harris that he hasn't seen her daughter since 8:30 p.m. the previous night.
Well, you told me that they had an argument. She was pissed off because they're arguing over her old girlfriend or something. Roxanne just walked out, and he said that he tried to go after her, you know, beg her to come back into the hotel room, and she refused to do that. And he went out about 20 minutes later, where he last saw her. And she was nowhere around, and he said he searched for her and couldn't find her after that. He says he had her purse, and he had her cell phone, and he had her clothing. She left the hotel room with just her clothes on her back and her shoes, and that was it. It sounded like he was concerned, and I knew at that moment, the mother instinct, that I knew something was wrong and my daughter was in danger.
Coming up, police investigate Roxanne's boyfriend and uncover disturbing information.
Roxanne had disclosed that she was scared of him.
Roxanne Paltoff and her boyfriend Lewis Walls have been celebrating their 2-year anniversary together in Austin, Texas. But according to Lewis, after an argument, Roxanne leaves the motel where they had intended to stay the night and doesn't return. The next day, after missing a planned shopping trip with her family, warning bells immediately go off for Roxanne's mother when Lewis calls asking if she has seen Roxanne.
The main thing was that she was not with him, and she hadn't contacted me, and she was supposed to have been home that morning, and things were just going through my head. I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone, and she didn't have no money on her, because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
It just didn't make any sense. If you were going to get mad and leave the motel, you would have took your stuff with you.
According to her mother, Roxanne and Lewis have argued in the past, but there's something about her disappearing that deeply concerns her family and friends.
It was unusual that Roxanne didn't call home because she always called. She was responsible about keeping in touch with her family. She had a few close friends, but mainly it was her family.
When we first heard about it, we're like, oh my God, Roxanne's gone, we have to go find her.
Roxanne's family immediately heads to the motel in North Austin where she and Lewis had been staying. It's in a rough neighborhood, known for drugs and prostitution.
I knew of Runberg. Runberg was the area that you knew you just kind of stayed away from, you know. It was a lot of unsavory people, people that you don't want to associate with. I think Roxanne should have known better than that area to be in.
I didn't particularly know that the hotel she was staying at with Lewis was that bad. And it was like the cheapest hotel in the area. That's why they picked it.
And I showed people pictures, telling my daughter's missing, I'm trying to find her. And nobody had ever seen her. They didn't know who she was. Lewis and I kept calling back each other that night. And I told him, look, we both need to call the police.
They both call 911, and 3 days after she is last heard from, the Austin Police Department's Missing Persons Unit starts its investigation into the case of Roxanne Paltoff.
Her mother had called and reported her missing, and also Lewis Walls, who was her boyfriend, called and reported her missing. So at the onset, I mean, there was concern that A, where Roxanne went missing from, there's narcotics, prostitution, and B, Roxanne's not the type of person to be missing for an extended period of time without making contact, especially with her mother.
Police turn their attention on the motel. They arrive ready to begin their investigation, but finding a scene to investigate proves problematic.
There were some bookkeeping errors that didn't allow us to ascertain who was in what room, if you will, or even how many tenants were at that hotel, as well as their identities. A lot of the rooms at that hotel that may show to be vacant on paper actually have subjects in them.
According to the motel booking sheet, Roxanne Paltoff had stayed in room 217. Police aren't sure whether the information is accurate, but decide to check it out anyway.
It was very clear upon going to that room that there was going to be no physical evidence available. I think it was roughly 5 to 6 days after her disappearance. The room that she was supposedly in had already been, of course, cleaned 3 or 4 times. Someone else had stayed in it. It was an unsecured scene for too long. Too many people had gone through it.
Next, the police focus their efforts on the area around the motel, talking to people who might have seen or heard something.
The area of Runberg and 35 is essentially a high crime area. So a lot of the possible witnesses are already involved in some type of criminal activity and therefore would decline to speak with me.
After initially making contact with the police, Roxanne's boyfriend Lewis has recently stopped returning calls. Investigators believe he can shed critical light on the case, since he was the last person to see Roxanne.
We knew we needed to speak to Lewis quickly.
But Roxanne's mother does hear from Lewis. He shows up to return her daughter's belongings 5 days after she went missing.
And he handed me the cell phone. And then I went through her purse. She had some rings in there. She had a toothbrush, her driving book. She had her debit card in there, no ID, and maybe a little bit of makeup. That was all.
Lewis also returns a bag of clothing, but on closer inspection, her family realizes the clothes aren't Roxanne's.
We went through it, and it was clothes I've never in my life seen. And I know Roxanne's clothing, and I've never seen these clothes. What I thought was strange, it wasn't even Roxanne's size. It was like way too small. It was like kid sizes.
I told Lewis, these are not Roxanne's clothes. He goes, well, I just gathered them up off the floor and put them in a bag. I thought they were hers.
In the days following Roxanne's disappearance, the police continue their efforts to speak to Lewis. Roxanne's family feels compelled to go back to the area around the motel. They're hoping to find someone who saw Roxanne leave the Budget Inn on the night of July 7th.
You just search that residential area, the abandoned houses, the ditches, the gullies and the drain storms, dumpsters, knock on people's doors. Have you seen my daughter? Have to tell them the story. You know, my daughter's missing, I'm looking for her.
Their search comes up empty. They decide to zero in on Roxanne's cell phone, thinking it might contain clues. They request her phone records and turn them over to police.
There was over 300 phone calls, page after page after page of phone calls from various places, and they were like a minute apart, a second apart. You know, it was just a constant calling on her phone.
One number is of particular interest.
There were several phone calls made from Roxanne's phone after she disappeared that were to Lewis's ex-girlfriend in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Police contact the ex-girlfriend and learn disturbing things about Lewis.
She did indicate that Lewis had told her he was in some trouble, he needed to come out there to New Mexico to get away. She declined to have him come to New Mexico. She informed us that she's scared of Lewis, that they had a violent past history together.
Roxanne's family has never been very comfortable with her relationship with Lewis.
He didn't really say much. Whenever I met him, he didn't try to get to know us. Wasn't really friendly, quiet, kind of awkward.
Lewis, he was not allowed to come over to my house. I disapproved of him. You know, no job, no future. Roxanne's running to him all the time. She was trying to go further in her life, and he was just trying to pull her down. And I saw that as a mother.
From the beginning, Roxanne's friends believed that she and Lewis had a volatile relationship.
Roxanne's mother drove by a bus stop and just happened to find Roxanne. She had a busted up nose, so Elizabeth took her straight to the emergency room. And at the time, she had told everybody that she fell or something of that sort, that it was an accident. And then one time during a conversation with her and I, it did come up that he had hit her hard enough in the face, a straight punch, that he broke her nose and she had to have reconstructive surgery on her nose.
We have statements from Roxanne's friends indicating that Roxanne had disclosed to them that Lewis had struck her in the past and that Lewis was very violent when he was angry, and that she indeed was scared of him at times.
Investigators look at the big picture, Lewis's past and the fact that he and Roxanne apparently argued shortly before she went missing, and step up their interest in him.
Anytime someone comes and tells you, I had an argument with someone and now they're missing and I was the last person to see them. I have a violent background. I have a history of being abusive towards the women I date. Lewis was a suspect pretty much immediately.
The police run a background check on Lewis Walls.
Lewis had a series of involvements in small crimes and a conviction for a felony delivery of a controlled substance.
I did not know that he spent time in prison. And I was furious. You know, why is she with this guy that's got this criminal record?
Lewis's police record also reveals personal details that he had previously chosen not to disclose.
When Roxanne and Lewis first met, she was 16 and he was 18 or 19. After she went missing is when we found out his real age. When she was 16, he was really 28.
It was scary, you know, what kind of elements has she gotten herself into?
Roxanne had never been in trouble herself, but her friends and family often worried that she could easily fall in with the wrong crowd.
I think she was gullible. She believed in people. Everybody told the truth. Everybody's nice. Nobody's gonna hurt her. You know, she I don't think, really understood how the world works out there.
She thought she was invincible sometimes. It was just, nobody's gonna do anything to me. It's not gonna happen, you know, and I'm with him, so I'm safe.
What I learned about Roxanne just in talking, especially with her family and her closest friends, is Roxanne played a real good tough girl role, but Roxanne was not savvy. She was not a streetwise person.
Since Roxanne's disappearance 5 days earlier, Lewis Walls has become increasingly harder to contact. Police step up the search to find him, but he continues to be an elusive witness.
We made several requests for Lewis to come in and give us a statement. He declined to come to the police station. We attempted to meet him at places, but he was unavailable. Lewis repeatedly told us that, you know, I've already told you all I know over the phone. I don't know why you need to talk to me in person. He felt like we were trying to put this on him.
Almost 2 weeks after Roxanne's disappearance, Lewis finally agrees to a face-to-face meeting with police.
I went and I picked Lewis up and I brought him in, and he sat down and talked to us. He didn't want to answer any open-ended questions that required, I guess, a lengthy answer on exactly how things unfolded. When we talked to him about the phone calls that were made, yeah, he was mad at Roxanne for walking off, so he called other girls, he flirted with other girls, he called his ex-girlfriend. He indicated, you know, Roxanne understood that. He downplayed the boyfriend-girlfriend role.
Lewis denies any involvement in Roxanne's disappearance. While being questioned, he says there's someone who can confirm that he was still in the motel when Roxanne went missing. A motel employee who maintains that she was with Lewis for the rest of that night.
The young lady indicated that she did see Roxanne leave the hotel and that Lewis was walking behind her, and then Lewis did turn and go back to the room. She did admit that later in the night, she did go to the room and spend some time there with Lewis, and that she left approximately 3 o'clock in the morning.
Based on the phone records, which indicate Lewis made calls between 8:30 p.m. and midnight, and the witness who says she was with Lewis from 10:30 p.m. to 3 in the morning, most of Lewis's time is accounted for.
The subject also indicated that the room was not in disarray. Roxanne's belongings were in the room. Everything seemed to be in order.
But before the police get a chance to polygraph the witness, the case takes an unexpected turn. A man is brought in for questioning in Austin, and he has Roxanne's ID in his wallet. Coming up, the mystery surrounding Roxanne's disappearance deepens.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution.
No one has seen 18-year-old Roxanne Paltoff in over a week. Her boyfriend maintains that after they had an argument, she left the motel where they were staying and didn't return. Her friends and family are deeply troubled.
I just couldn't understand it in my mind why she hasn't called me. You know, this was strange. Why hasn't she picked that phone up? And then I found out that she didn't have her cell phone and she didn't have no money on her because she left her phone, she left her debit card, she left her purse.
Searches around the motel area yield no new clues. Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, presents a witness from the motel. But before police check out the story, there is a surprising development. 10 days after Roxanne's disappearance, her ID is discovered in the police department's Lost and Found. But how had it come into police possession?
Shortly after Roxanne disappeared, there was a disturbance call at a hotel near the Budget Inn.
A woman there alleges that a man has attempted to sexually assault her in a motel bedroom.
Officers responding to that call encountered a female victim who had been assaulted and stated that the suspect had just left the scene.
But the suspect leaves behind his wallet.
During the course of their investigation at the scene, the suspect returned to the scene.
The man, Jeffrey Moore, is detained and questioned.
No charges were brought. There was an uncooperative victim who declined to press charges. But the patrol officer did discover in this suspect's wallet was Roxanne's identification card.
The officer confiscates Roxanne's ID, but no one knows it belongs to a missing person at the time because the police do not run a check on it until 4 days later.
When the person who is in charge of mailing back IDs entered the name into the database, of course, Roxanne came up as a missing person, and we were immediately contacted and told that Jeffrey Moore had been in possession of Roxanne's ID.
Investigators are eager to learn more about Jeffrey Moore and how he happened to have Roxanne's ID.
We ran a background check on Jeffrey Moore and did show that he had involvement in criminal activity. However, there were no convictions.
Police track Moore down, and they conduct a telephone interview with the help of an interpreter because Moore is deaf.
He indicated that he had given Roxanne a ride, her and Lewis, the day before Roxanne had disappeared.
Police contact Lewis Walls, who confirms that he and Roxanne did get a ride with Jeffrey Moore the day before Roxanne went missing.
Lewis Walls did indicate that they had gone to the store to buy cigarettes, so Roxanne had had her ID with her, and that she very well could have lost it in the car.
But police say Walls and Moore don't agree on the route they took.
Jeffrey Moore tells me that the ride was from downtown Austin to the Runberg 35 area. Lewis Walls tells me that it's from a Walgreen that is already in the Runberg 35 area back to their hotel.
This is the first inconsistency police note between Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories. And they say Moore's account has its own contradictions.
Mr. Moore, in his initial interview on the other assault case, he indicated that Roxanne was a close friend of his, and he would like to retain the ID so that he may give it back to her in person. Then in an interview with me much later, Mr. Moore indicated that he didn't know Roxanne and that he'd only met her one time. Jeffrey Moore has a plausible reason for having that card, but there's a lot of inconsistencies in both stories. Obviously, they can't both be telling the truth.
Roxanne's family is told that at one point, Moore claimed to be a good friend of Roxanne's. But this is news to them.
Roxanne never mentioned having a friend named Jeffrey Moore. She would have had a friend that was deaf. She would have told us. We would have known about him. We knew her friends. We knew who she hung out with.
Unable to confirm Lewis Walls and Jeffrey Moore's stories, police have nothing to go on.
I mean, I was disappointed because I thought, okay, this guy's got her ID and we're gonna find Roxanne, and that wasn't it.
Police finally polygraph the woman from the motel who said she was with Lewis the night Roxanne disappeared. She passes, and his alibi checks out. Without enough evidence, the police are left with no leads to pursue, only questions about why Roxanne went missing. One thing starts to become clear to them. She didn't vanish on her own volition.
Roughly 10 days into the case is when it started developing for me that, okay, this person is what we refer to as involuntarily missing. In other words, I don't think that Roxanne is voluntarily absent. I didn't see any of the precursors for runaways or people who intend to be long-term missing. It was not the kind of life that someone would wish to escape.
With Roxanne now missing for 2 weeks, each passing day brings more despair for Roxanne's family.
When it gets silent, it gets eerie, because you just feel like this is the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. We're not going to have no more tips. Roxanne is lost, and nobody cares, and she's just a memory. I started gathering pictures up, her perfume bottle, crosses, just pictures, notes. I just started putting a place together. I believe it was on Roxanne's birthday. It was a birthday present to her. It's a place that I can go to, cry, pray, talk to her. It's something I see every day when I come and go.
The family also has to contend with rumors and speculation about Roxanne.
It really hurt me, like, going back to school and just having a bunch of kids, mean kids, saying their opinion, like, do you really think she's a prostitute? People had no right to come up to me or my siblings saying what they were saying.
I think there was some question as to whether she might have been involved in prostitution and or drugs. More a function of where she disappeared from, because a lot of the street activity and criminal activity in that area is related to prostitution and drugs. But do I think that she actually engaged in any activities like that? I just don't. I don't believe so. It just doesn't fit with the kind of girl she was.
Roxanne wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't an addict. She wasn't the type of person that would normally be in that area. Roxanne, I think, had no problem with being in that area because she felt safe with Lewis Walls. I can't find an instance in Roxanne's life that she was in the Runberg and 35 area that Lewis Walls wasn't with her.
Finally, after almost 3 weeks, there's a break in the investigation. The remains of a girl are found near a highway intersection in southeast Austin.
This is it. They found Roxanne's body. This is her. Oh my God, my daughter's dead. What happened to her?
Coming up, the agony as Roxanne's family wait for DNA results.
I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do?
It's been almost 3 weeks since Roxanne Paltoff disappeared in a seedy area of Austin, Texas. The case was at a standstill, until a call comes in to the Austin Police Missing Persons Unit that could change everything.
The police department received a call that human remains had been discovered in the southeast section of Austin. I thought it could be Roxanne.
The police called me and asked me for Roxanne's dental records.
For over 3 harrowing weeks, the Paltoff family waits to see if the DNA from the remains matches Roxanne, never dreaming their lives would include this kind of surreal and terrifying experience.
It hit me hard. I remember being on the phone with my mother, and I was just bawling my eyes out, thinking, oh my God, this is Roxanne. They actually found her. What am I gonna do, Mom? How am I supposed to deal with this?
After a tense wait, the police received the DNA results.
It was discovered that it was indeed not Roxanne.
It was just a very traumatic moment, and it was such a relief. It was such a low that it happened, but it was such a high that it wasn't Roxanne.
Roxanne's family refuses to give up hope. In March 2007, Liz Harris enlists the help of a local advertising agency.
I think I'd seen a billboard on a TV show or on the computer when I was searching missing persons, and I saw a billboard and I wanted a billboard.
The billboard goes up in March 2007, a block away from the Budget Inn where Roxanne was last seen.
The billboard is a big blessing. She's up there 24/7. Thousands of people go down 35 or different areas of town, so she's not forgotten. She's not put away. Her sign is out there, and they see Roxanne. That helps a whole lot.
Over 200 people report having seen Roxanne in Austin, alive.
Elizabeth has a number on the billboard that will go to her. Every tip that is relayed directly to me so that I can follow up. And all those leads have to be tracked down.
This guy called in and told me that he saw my daughter working at a bank in North Austin. So I found out where the bank was. One of the tellers, she looks similar to Roxanne.
Unfortunately, none of those hits give us any credible, concrete leads as to exactly what happened to Roxanne.
1 year later, as the mystery deepens, the case attracts the attention of local journalist Jordan Smith.
Her mother, Elizabeth Harris, had put flyers all over town looking for Roxanne, and you couldn't go anywhere without seeing them. And I was taken by this picture of this girl who seemed to go missing from very strange circumstances. One of the things that's just so tantalizing and so frustrating about Roxanne's case is that all the pieces are there. Nobody's being fully honest about what they know, I don't think, and that's just very frustrating.
And still no sign of Roxanne Paltoff. She was last seen 1 year ago today in North Austin. Today, her family and friends peppered that same area with flyers. They hope it's going to spark someone's memory, lead to new clues, and hopefully lead to Roxanne.
It flew by, to be honest. You couldn't believe that it was already a year without Roxanne. She was there for my birthday when I turned 15, and when I turned 16, she wasn't there. And she was the one who made the cakes, who went with my mom to buy us presents. When that birthday came around, she wasn't there. That's when it really hit home.
Seven months later, the police and Roxanne's grieving family get a solid break in the case. After a witness said Walls was with her the night of Roxanne's disappearance, police turned their focus away from him. But in March 2008, Walls is back on their radar.
Lewis Walls came back to the forefront of the investigation when his current girlfriend came forward and made the statement that Lewis Walls told her he would harm her and that he had killed a girl before.
Coming up, investigators zero in on who is responsible for Roxanne's disappearance.
I have two violent offenders. I suspect that one of them is hiding a murder.
It's been almost 2 years since Roxanne Paltoff vanished outside a motel in a rough area of Austin, Texas. In March 2008, police learned some disturbing news about Roxanne's boyfriend, Lewis Walls, that they think could move the case forward.
Lewis had gotten into an incident with a woman that he'd been dating who he has a child with. They had met to discuss some child support and child care issues, but instead of talking about that, he ended up threatening this young woman, also another young woman, significantly younger than he, and sort of whispering some things to her that, you know, if she didn't basically behave, that he would do to her what he'd done to Roxanne.
What he had said was that if she did not want to end up like that girl, Roxanne, that she needed to do what he wanted her to do.
If someone threatens harm and the threat is believable, it is viewed as a criminal act.
She had every the same to you.
Lewis's girlfriend makes a statement to police and is granted a restraining order against him. Lewis is charged with making a terroristic threat and sentenced to 140 days in jail. While incarcerated, police interview Lewis about the claims that he killed Roxanne.
Lewis was very confrontational, and at the point of what he said, he repeatedly told me, I didn't say that, that's not what I said, she's lying. She's just trying to get back at me because I don't want to be with her anymore. She set me up. She just wanted me sent to jail. She had prior knowledge of his involvement with Roxanne's case and was trying to use that against him.
With Walls denying the comment and no solid evidence against him, police have nothing to go on. Over the course of the investigation, a friendship develops between Roxanne's mother, Liz Harris, and the lead detective on the case, James Scott.
Every Wednesday, I could expect, like clockwork, a call from Elizabeth saying, hey, you know, what's new?
At first, they used to say, this is Elizabeth Harris, Roxanne Paltoff's mother, but now we're just Elizabeth Harris. I hear his voice change immediately. It's not a voice of dread, oh God, here's that mother calling me. It's a voice of disappointment that he hasn't been able to find Roxanne, like he hasn't accomplished what he set out to do.
I try to keep her updated on what I'm doing. You build a relationship with the family. You know, I've met her family. She's met my family. You feel a frustration, a sense of loss. You want to give people that closure. You want to give them the answers they're looking for.
I truly believe in my heart that he is genuine about finding Roxanne and doing whatever it takes to find her.
She's a mother missing a child. She's never going to stop looking. And as a detective, how can I quit? As long as Roxanne's missing, I have to look for her.
Four years later, the Austin police get a call from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Skeletal remains have been found that match Roxanne's description.
Of course, the significance of Albuquerque, we do know that Lewis Walls made several phone calls to Albuquerque immediately after Roxanne's disappearance to call his ex-girlfriend.
Was it too much of a coincidence?
It was very significant, and it was, once again, another one of those hold your breath moments. This could be a huge break in this case. This could be finally some closure as far as where is Roxanne.
Detective Scott forwards Roxanne's dental records to the medical examiner in New Mexico, but this time chooses not to share the discovery with Roxanne's mother, Elizabeth.
Until I had a confirmation, I can't put myself in the position of causing her that grief. I don't think that's a roller coaster ride that she needs to go on.
After a week, the dental records show that the remains are not those of Roxanne.
I don't think at this point in time that there's really any hope that Roxanne will be found alive. It's just too late. She didn't call. All the things that would have indicated that she was alive are gone. And I think the reality that's set in for her family and friends is that not only is she gone and dead, but she was likely murdered. And the thing that remains is that they don't know what happened to her. Was she scared? Was she, did she suffer? Where is she? These are the things that haunt them, and they're the only pieces of Roxanne that are left.
At this point, I just don't want to find her, no matter what it takes, dead or alive.
This case is still an open and active missing persons case. What I'm left with now is I have 2 violent offenders, both involved in criminal activity, and both hiding criminal activity, but I suspect that one of them is hiding a murder.
Neither Lewis Walls nor Jeffrey Moore has ever been charged in connection to Roxanne's disappearance. Whatever happened to her remains a mystery.
Do I think Roxanne's fallen victim to foul play? Yes, I do. Do I know what that foul play is? I don't. But those are answers that I will certainly keep looking until I find them.
Why is looking at cake? Who wants to play? Well, I want a fork.
There's a light that went off when she went away, and there was a hole in our hearts.
Michelle McMullen disappeared on September 28, 2008. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Michelle McMullen's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. Michelle McMullen, an adoring single mother and dedicated student, vanishes on a road trip her family knows nothing about.
Something has happened to her, but we can't find where she is.
This is a missing person. This is a mother. This is someone that people want to find. They care a lot about her.
Her parents fear the worst.
God, I know you know where she is, but help us to find her.
Police dig deep for evidence to explain her disappearance.
If she was in some sort of distress or trouble, we wanted to find her and help her.
They turn up nothing, until her car is discovered abandoned across the state line.
I couldn't understand how it could all happen in front of their eyes and no one have any idea what took place.
But as police work to unravel the mystery, they discover a trail of clues that takes the case in an unexpected direction and leads to an extraordinary conclusion.
And that's when we started to put some of the puzzle together. Well, she may have a reason not to be found.
We believe that something happened to her, but she's hunted down like a criminal.
On the day before she disappears, 27-year-old college student Michelle McMullen leaves her apartment in Ruston, Louisiana, and begins the long 18-hour drive to her hometown of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She's bringing her 6-year-old son, Jaden, back to live with her parents. A month earlier, Michelle had moved with Jaden thousands of miles away so she could complete her degree at Grambling State University in Louisiana.
She was very serious. She was taking online courses. When it got close to the time for her to complete her studies, they told her she had to go to school there in order to finish.
She has been a very dedicated mother. Jaden has been pretty much her life. She's spent most every waking moment, caring for him. She focuses most of her activities around him.
And as a determined student, Michelle is intent on forging a better future for her and her son.
Michelle was a very attentive and a very focused to identify, how she needed to move forward in most things in her life.
But when Michelle arrives at school, she is stunned to learn that the grant she had been expecting has not yet been approved.
So she was very frustrated. I mean, she had planned on not having to need monies to pay for schooling for the fall. She had to sit down and figure out how she was going to pay for school, pay for her room and board, pay for books. Certainly the school said, well, you can come back in January, but she had moved everything, 1,000 miles. You just can't move back home and then move back again.
Resolved not to let her financial situation become a barrier to an education, Michelle takes a job at a local McDonald's. But the pressures of being a single parent and a full-time student become too much for her.
She had Jaden with her, her son. She was that attached to him and that close that she wanted him to be with her. Now, finding out that she had to also take on a full-time job as well as her school and trying to raise a son, it became very overwhelming. She just didn't know what to do. She was kind of, stuck between bringing her son back home or trying to keep him there with her. And our advice was to bring him home to family and friends here.
Michelle agrees Jaden would be better off living with her parents in Harrisburg while she finishes school.
I spoke with her and, about me flying down to pick up Jaden and bringing him back. Then she decided that that's what she would do.
But that's not what happens. No one could have predicted what Michelle would do next. On Friday, September 26th, Michelle arrives at work. Unexpectedly, her boss gives her the weekend off.
I believe that it was September 26th, which was a Friday, that she was scheduled for work, and her boss at the McDonald's, she indicated that Friday she had to make some scheduling changes. And she gave Michelle off unexpectedly that Friday evening until Tuesday. So Michelle now saw a window of opportunity that she could travel and bring Jaden back home during that time and didn't have class until Tuesday morning.
Curiously, Michelle chooses not to tell her parents she's decided to make the 1,200-mile trip from Louisiana to Pennsylvania.
Well, when I spoke with her before her disappearance, she didn't give me any inclination or anything that she was coming up that time. And I think she may have wanted to surprise us, and to show us that she can take that kind of drive.
It's a decision that continues to haunt the McMullins. That Saturday afternoon, after attending her college's homecoming football game, Michelle sets off with Jaden.
Our estimation is, based on the time, it's about an 18-hour drive, that she would have had to have left probably around 3 or 5 o'clock that afternoon.
Michelle drives through the night, stopping only for gas.
Michelle drove here in an amount of time that would certainly say that she didn't stop very much. I asked Jaden if they had stopped and slept, and Jaden said he slept and took naps, but he said every time he woke up, his mom was still driving.
Michelle makes one phone call from the road to a childhood friend in Harrisburg.
I understand that Michelle, upon arriving in Harrisburg, spoke to her friend, told her friend that she was coming in town and that she needed to drop her son with her.
Michelle asks her friend to watch Jaden for the weekend and then take him to Michelle's parents on Tuesday once Michelle is back at school. Her friend later tells the McMullins that Michelle had specifically instructed her not to tell them of her trip until she dropped Jaden off.
Certainly our feelings were that Michelle did not contact us, primarily because we would have not let her leave immediately upon arriving after driving such a long time.
I would have insisted that she stay, even if I had to sit on her and, take her keys or whatever it is that I needed to do, but she would not have left that night.
Michelle's spur-of-the-moment trip sets into motion a series of events that will devastate her family. Around 8:30 Sunday evening, Michelle arrives at her friend's place in Harrisburg with Jaden.
After meeting with her friend, she got back in her car, and this was about 9 p.m. on Sunday evening.
Before starting the 18-hour journey back to Louisiana, Michelle assures her friend that she won't continue without stopping to rest.
Michelle's friend was concerned about her traveling after having been up for such a long period of time. Michelle had told her friend that she had some pillows and blankets in the car and that she would stop along the way back, but that she was certainly intent on trying to get back to school by Tuesday morning.
But Michelle promises her that once on the road again, she will call to check in. And she does. The call lasts only a few minutes. It is the last time anyone speaks to Michelle McMullen before she disappears. As the search begins, her family worries. Could an alarming medical issue be responsible? It's Monday morning, and Michelle's close friend hasn't heard from her since their brief phone call the night before. Michelle has left her 6-year-old with her and started the drive back to school in Louisiana. The friend tries Michelle's cell, but her repeated calls go unanswered.
The friend, after making several attempts to reach Michelle, became very concerned that possibly something had derailed or there had been some issue.
Weighing her promise not to call the McMullens until Tuesday against her concern for Michelle's safety, Michelle's friend finally picks up the phone.
My wife got a phone call on that Monday morning that her friend or close friend thought immediately that something had happened.
And I'm like, what? Because I'm livid. I'm like going, like my mind is racing. Like, what are you talking about?
On the phone, the friend explains that Michelle had been in Harrisburg over the weekend and left Jaden in her care. And she tells them that she hasn't been able to reach Michelle all day. Michelle's parents begin calling everyone they know who Michelle could possibly be in touch with, hoping someone has had contact with her.
We started making calls to her school, to her job, to places that we thought she might have made contact with in her trip back. Monday would have been, for the most part, a day of travel. So we just really didn't panic, because I never imagined that something horrific may have happened. We just felt that Michelle was just en route, that she was making her way back. She didn't want to spend time talking. We were concerned, but yet not fearful.
But on Tuesday morning, when they find out Michelle hasn't shown up for her classes, they know something is very wrong. It's almost unheard of for Michelle to miss school.
On Tuesday, we called the police.
We became involved when her father, Mr. McMullen, called the police department and reported her missing. He described his daughter as a normal kid, single mother, working hard, going to school, was heading back down to college, and basically never showed up.
But the police also explain that not enough time has gone by for Michelle to technically be listed as a missing person.
The authorities They said that at that point they couldn't help us. They couldn't do anything until the necessary time had elapsed of her missing. So pretty much throughout that Tuesday, we're very concerned. We're very, I want to almost say frantic.
On Wednesday, 72 hours have now passed since Michelle went missing. Her father, Michael, is finally able to file a missing persons report. Her name is also entered into the National Crime Information Center, or NCIC, database that law enforcement officers use to track missing people.
That's nationwide, so whoever would come in contact whether she was listed as a missing person.
When police question Michelle's parents, trying to find out anything that might help them locate Michelle, they discover she's been plagued by severe migraine headaches.
The father, Mr. McMullen, had told us that, and that was a concern.
Police learned that a year earlier, one attack was so serious that Michelle collapsed unconscious. In fact, her son Jaden, then 5, dialed 911, and paramedics were dispatched to the scene to revive her.
And he kept calling her, Mom, Mom, and she wouldn't answer. So he didn't know what else to do, so he just picked up the phone and dialed 911 himself.
Michelle was rushed to the local hospital. She later tells her family that before the attack, her vision had become blurry. Was it possible that Michelle experienced a migraine attack so severe to cause a car accident? It sounds like a chillingly reasonable explanation to her father.
We felt that Michelle had been in an accident, that she just, was not in any condition to be driving over 1,000 miles with such little sleep.
The possibility that an injured Michelle might be stranded on the road, somewhere between Pennsylvania and Louisiana, haunts both her parents and law enforcement officials.
Some of those back roads down there, I mean, you could be missing for a month before anybody would spot your car.
The McMullens immediately take action.
We mapped the route from here back down to Louisiana and the towns that were in between here, and to identify the hospitals.
From the religious bookstore and copy center they run, Michelle's parents call and send Michelle's photo to hospitals along Michelle's planned route to Louisiana, hoping that someone might recognize Michelle if she is lying in a hospital somewhere, unidentified.
So if she would have been in an accident, then we would have known about that, but we came up with nothing.
Next, police receive a new clue that will intensify the search for Michelle and deeply trouble her family. On Sunday, September 29th, Michelle McMullen goes missing while driving from Pennsylvania back to her college in Louisiana. Her father files a missing persons report with the local police. Because Michelle has a history of severe migraines, family members are concerned that Michelle may have been injured in a car accident and unable to call for help.
I mean, she was just a happy-go-lucky hometown girl going to college and raising a kid, single mother. You spend a lot of time spinning your wheels, and we weren't coming up with anything.
While continuing to investigate the possibility that Michelle has been in a car accident, Harrisburg investigators also begin exploring other theories to explain her disappearance. They interview the friend Michelle left her son with in Harrisburg. What she tells them is shocking. According to the friend, Michelle has run away, possibly abandoning her son.
This friend had said to the police that Michelle was ran away versus her being missing.
She tells police that Michelle left her a letter before she drove off.
She had written a letter. Michelle had done it herself, and it pretty much gave it to her friend, and that she would be in contact with her, and I guess she wanted to check on her child.
The letter was addressed to her friend, and had in there stating the fact that they're sorry for getting them involved in it, getting them in the middle.
In addition to spelling out instructions on how Michelle's son should be cared for, the letter contains many perplexing statements.
I don't know what's going on, but I know the fingers are all on me. I was responsible for everything. I'm hurting and scared.
But Michelle's mother questions the authenticity of the letter.
I said, this is not Michelle's handwriting. I had to keep reading it because, like I said, this is not my daughter's handwriting. It's similar to her handwriting, but this is not her handwriting. It's not.
After analyzing the letter and speaking with the friend, police find no reason to conduct a handwriting analysis. They believe the letter is from Michelle. But the statements made in the letter puzzle them. Do they prove that Michelle willingly disappeared? It's an intriguing clue.
And that's when we started to put some of the puzzle together. Well, she may have a reason not to be found.
But the McMullins are adamant that Michelle would never run away.
She was not a type of person who traditionally had run away. Hadn't been proven the type of person who just disappeared for no good reason.
There is nothing in the letter to help them locate Michelle. And without more evidence to confirm what Michelle's friend had said, investigators continue to view Michelle as a missing person. A week later, as police explore different theories about the case, a call comes in. Michelle's 2002 Honda Accord has been discovered abandoned just over the Pennsylvania border in neighboring Maryland, near a truck assembly plant.
We became aware Miss McMullin's car was here outside Mack Truck when Mack Truck Security called Washoe County Dispatch to advise that a vehicle had been abandoned on the access road here. We sent deputies out to check the car, and our dispatchers checked that license plate number through Pennsylvania Department of Transportation, and we received information that the car belonged to Miss McMullin.
Sergeant Christopher Howard, with the Washington County, Maryland Sheriff's Office, was one of the first officers to arrive at the scene.
When Mack Truck called us to report that the vehicle had been sitting here somewhere between 7 and 10 days, they weren't exactly sure.
With Michelle now missing for 10 days, this information fits perfectly with the timeline of her last known whereabouts. Investigators are frustrated that it took so long for employees at the truck plant to report Michelle's abandoned car.
I would guess that they had figured it was probably just an employee's car that had broken down as they were leaving work, and they expected the employee to recover the car. When their car sat here for so long, they finally decided to call us.
The news of the car's discovery rattles the McMullins, and in their minds, points to only one possibility.
I'll be very honest with you, I really, my heart sank because I felt at that point that she was taken from her vehicle forcibly, not at her own free will, because there was just no way in my mind that Michelle would go somewhere on her own and not contact someone.
With 10 days lost, police scramble to make up the time.
I mean, it's just lost time. So if she was in the area, obviously, if we had known it was there an hour after she left, it would have been a much easier chance of catching up with her.
A local TV station picks up the story.
The discovery of Michelle's car in the interstate did eliminate a few possibilities. One, that she wasn't in a car accident because her car was fine. And two, that she didn't die right there on the scene.
With the likelihood of Michelle being injured in a car accident now eliminated, investigators focus on other possible scenarios.
When we found the car, we weren't exactly sure why Miss McMullin had left it here. When we began to examine the contents of the vehicle, we looked at it as hopefully we would find something that would indicate where she may have gone.
The examination of the car reveals some clues, but they don't all add up. The car doors are locked, but inside, police find Michelle's purse, along with her cell phone, wallet, and ID. Evidence that reinforces the McMullins' fears their daughter has been abducted.
I thought that she might have been asleep and somebody seen her, a trucker or somebody, and, you know, banged on her window and scared her, and she got up and they took her out the car.
The vicinity surrounding the truck plant is a mixture of farmland and wooded areas. Areas that would be sparsely populated at night, when Michelle would have been separated from her car.
In this area especially, you know, it's not a really populated area. It would definitely be easy for Michelle to just pull up, leave her car, and nobody would ever even see her. I don't think there's a lot of people around there that would really say, "Hey lady, what are you doing?"
Police form search parties to scour these areas for clues. They also bring in scent-tracking dogs to determine Michelle's movement. The dogs pick up Michelle's scent and track it 50 feet from the car towards the main road before it goes cold.
With the bloodhound tracking Miss McMullen from the vehicle towards Moggins Avenue, the conditions that caused her to walk there, again, we had no idea of that.
Still, the McMullens contend there can be only one explanation. Michelle did not leave her car willingly.
The tractor trailer is about 50 feet in length. And that certainly makes sense that, hey, maybe a truck pulled out, saw her, stopped, went back, grabbed her up, put her in the truck, and went on their way.
I mean, if this woman left her car on the side of the road and had a plan to escape and get away and go somewhere else, you would think she would take her personal items, things she needed to survive, like her credit card and her cell phone and her wallet. But it seems weird that she just walked away and left everything that are completely vital to surviving.
As ground searches of the area are completed, only one thing is certain. Michelle McMullen is nowhere to be found.
We had hoped maybe to find something indicating where she had gone or why she had disappeared. We didn't find anything.
The McMullens are frustrated when the police are unable to turn up anything to help them locate Michelle. And they can't believe no one at the truck plant saw her leave her car.
How come you could not see if someone got out that car? You would have to notice if somebody's pulling up and pull over to the side. You would have to see that. You have no choice. Even if your back is turned, you're going to turn around, you still would have to see. You have to see that someone pulled that car there and got out that vehicle.
But as investigators begin evaluating all of the evidence in the case, Michelle McMullen's disappearance starts to look less like an abduction and more like something else.
There was nothing in the car that would indicate to us that there was any foul play. There was no evidence of a crime, no blood or anything like that. Each one of those things that we came up with sort of leads us to believe that, okay, no, she's not a missing person, she wants to be missing.
Could Michelle have wanted to disappear? When something from Michelle's past emerges, it throws the missing persons investigation into a tailspin. 10 days after she vanishes, Michelle's car is found abandoned right over the Pennsylvania border in Hagerstown, Maryland. There are two theories about her disappearance. Her family insists she was taken against her will, but police believe the evidence shows that she wanted to disappear. Suddenly, there's shocking news. A warrant for the arrest of Michelle McMullen issued in Pennsylvania by a neighboring police department. The charges? Felony theft by forgery, unlawful taking, and deception of an amount over $2,000 from the church where Michelle used to work before moving to Louisiana. Detective Michael Thornton is the lead investigator with the Susquehanna Township Police.
Michelle was employed there as an administrator at the church. She was in charge of doing certain financial functions for the church.
Church officials tell Detective Thornton Michelle had been employed at the church since November of 2007. But she was fired in July of 2008 for poor performance, a little less than a month before she moved to Louisiana. And it was at that time they discovered money was missing.
They did an audit of the funds and discovered numerous discrepancies. Our investigation found that there's over $19,000 worth of missing funds.
The McMullen family is completely dismayed. Michelle's father had been unaware Michelle had actually been fired from her job.
As I understand, Michelle left her employment in the end of July. and had given notice with the understanding that she was going to school to Louisiana, and left with that purpose.
Michael McMullen had spoken with Detective Thornton on the phone a month earlier about the theft investigation. But he believed Michelle was not being accused of any wrongdoing.
I received a phone call from the Susquehanna Police Department, Detective Thornton, who asked me, did I know how to get a hold of Michelle? And he was very forward in that he said there had been an investigation with things at her former employment. He indicated at that time Michelle was not a suspect. He said they were not looking to arrest Michelle or any of those things.
Michelle even tried contacting Detective Thornton when she learned of the investigation.
And Michelle made an attempt to call him. And as I understand from the detective, he did miss the call.
Michelle called me. She left me a voice message stating that I could contact her, but only through an email address. She did not give me a phone number.
I understood later from the detective she had indeed tried to email him as well. And then they just missed each other.
News of the arrest warrant causes Harrisburg police to re-examine Michelle's disappearance.
We discovered that Susquehanna Township had filed criminal warrants for embezzlement and stealing from the church, and so that you start to look at the other aspect of that, and that kind of fit in when the friend was talking about she may be just on the run.
Even given the letter, it is a theory that Michelle's father, Michael, cannot accept. He fears that police have already drawn their own conclusions about Michelle without having all the facts.
Once there's any release of some type of criminal information, everybody's mind is made up. People are now convinced, well, she must have done something. That's what's wrong. She could be out there laying in a ditch dead, somebody, harmed, injured, raped her, killed her.
Police comb through Michelle's life, looking for places where she might be hiding. Michelle's cell phone records and email accounts are carefully scrutinized.
I did obtain search warrants for Michelle's email accounts, her MySpace and Facebook accounts. I was trying to locate individuals who she may have had contact with after she disappeared, and to find something to help us to find her.
But again, nothing surfaces to help investigators. Her name is once again placed in the NCIC database. This time as a wanted individual.
We entered her as a wanted person. That was done for several reasons. If she is found, that the agency needs to know that there are charges pending in another jurisdiction. There's some meaning as to why she may be missing, and to make sure she's returned safely.
Still, Michael McMullen firmly believes that the charges against Michelle have nothing to do with her disappearance.
There was more information and more reason to believe that Michelle had been abducted than to believe that she walked away because of this criminal investigation.
Detective Thornton acknowledges that at this point in the investigation, both theories about Michelle's disappearance still seem possible.
There was the possibility that she was in harm's way, and there was also the possibility that she was running from the charges. We had no idea. That's why we had to investigate, look in the situation, and determine exactly what happened. But we had no idea exactly why she was missing.
The Harrisburg Bureau of Police continues investigating Michelle as a missing person. Meanwhile, the Susquehanna Township Police carry out their own fugitive search.
Susquehanna Township was handling the criminal aspect. We were handling the missing person aspect. We have to continue to do that until we locate that person. Bottom line is we still had a missing person that we didn't know where she was.
Detective Thornton carefully re-interviews Michelle's closest friends and family, altering the questions to reflect Michelle's new status as a wanted individual.
We interviewed Michelle's family and friends. We asked them all sorts of questions as to if they knew where, if they knew where she was, why she disappeared. We have no reason to believe that Michelle's parents knew where she was or know where she's at right now. They are generally concerned about her safety and want her to return home to them.
But while Detective Thornton believes Michelle's parents have been completely forthcoming with what they know, he feels the same can't be said about Michelle's childhood friend, the one who Michelle left her son with before disappearing.
Certainly Michelle's closest friend seemed to have a very intricate involvement. There seemed to be a lot of things and situations that involved or surrounded her close friend.
Detective Thornton asks the woman to submit to a polygraph test.
We gave one of Michelle's friends a polygraph test. We wanted to make sure that we were receiving accurate information.
Her answers are analyzed by the Susquehanna Township Police polygraph expert.
The results of the test were that that person was deceptive.
Detective Thornton believes the results suggest Michelle's friend isn't telling all she knows.
There's still a lot of unanswered questions. The results of the polygraph test were another piece of the puzzle and gave us direction to look into.
But none of this eases the McMullins' pain of not knowing where their daughter is.
I've had a lot of people have said to me, well, you know, you seem to be so calm and so collected through all this. I'd be out of my mind. But I knew my daughter was out there and that somehow I had to find her, and being erratic, being emotional, being, you know, disoriented just, you know, isn't going to cut it. I mean, you got to be focused.
Then, a possible sighting confirms police suspicions, but causes Michelle's parents even greater anxiety. The disappearance of Michelle McMullen continues to be investigated by two different police forces. The Harrisburg Bureau of Police is still treating her as a missing person, while the neighboring Susquehanna Township Police pursue her as a wanted fugitive. And with little information to go on, her parents remain at a loss to explain their only daughter's disappearance. On Monday, December 15th, nearly 3 months after Michelle disappeared, an acquaintance walks into a hotel in Martinsburg, West Virginia. He's startled when he recognizes the woman working behind the counter. She appears to be Michelle McMullen. It's the break that police have been waiting for.
We alerted the Harrisburg Police Department, and we in turn notified the Sheriff's Department and the police department down in West Virginia where she was.
Investigators pounce on this startling tip. Just 30 miles from where her car was discovered, and a little less than 100 miles from her hometown. Could Michelle McMullen really be so close by?
One of our detectives got the information and immediately sent the local law enforcement agency there.
But when the officers arrive, they are surprised to find the person believed to be Michelle McMullen has already fled.
When police first were alerted of the sighting of Michelle in Martinsburg, they got there, they missed her for like 10 minutes.
Well, that news was very frustrating. You know, we were very close to her. You know, we almost found her.
And I don't know how she was notified that we were coming. I don't know how that happened, or whether she just said, oh, my friend saw me, the gig's up, and she just, you know, left the area, but it was done rather quickly.
Michelle's parents are stunned when told of the sighting.
Immediately, we wanted to believe that it was Michelle. I said, where? I mean, how? I mean, I was just full of questions.
Investigators question the hotel staff, and a local news station devotes significant time to the story.
They saw Michelle working here at the Knight's Inn.
A customer come to check out, and a friend that was with the customer recognized her.
From what?
From Pennsylvania. He was a family friend and recognized her. And as soon as he recognized her, she tried to jump behind the wall so he wouldn't see her. She must have seen him coming. And then he saw her, and then she took off running.
The individuals at the hotel were able to identify her in the photos that we had and provided. There's no doubt that's her, and she's now on the run.
Investigators determine with near certainty that the woman is Michelle. But the McMullens are not as willing to believe this woman is, in fact, their daughter.
So now in my mind, I'm saying, is this really Michelle? So I'm saying, well, I know when the police get there, they're going to do some fingerprints, DNA, something to conclusively, you know, determine this was her.
We had a positive ID, so at this point, there was no need to do any forensic stuff or DNA. We knew it was her. She'd been positively ID'd by 2 sources, plus the information we had found in the room clearly indicated that it was her.
I don't believe that that individual is my daughter simply because we have not got a 100% ID from the authorities.
Police learned that this woman, who identified herself as Monique Watson, had lived and worked at the hotel for the last 2 months. That coincided with the same period of time Michelle has been missing. They examined Michelle's hotel room and uncover some very revealing evidence.
She was living in the room at the hotel. We found stuff in the room that indicated that she was going by the name Monique Watson. We also found evidence that she was trying to obtain false ID, false driver's license, birth certificates, social security cards with that name.
Hotel employees told me that they knew her as Monique Watson. When I kept saying Michelle McMullen, they had no clue who I was talking about. So I had to keep referring to her as Monique because that's how they knew her. That's how they knew her as a friend, as a hotel employee, as a neighbor.
Reporter Nikki Burdine, arriving shortly after the police, interviews staff about how Michelle came to be employed.
By 10 minutes. Hotel employees told me that Michelle had arrived kind of out of the blue, told them that she was running from an abusive boyfriend, and the hotel employees told me, they said, you know, once somebody tells us something like that, we don't really pry. Another interesting fact is Michelle did not provide an identification when she got this job. The hotel employees told me that Michelle told her boss that she lost it in Katrina. And again, she hit the hot button. You don't ask someone about that. It's a touchy issue and you just let her be.
Investigators piece together all this information and form a narrative of Michelle's movements following her disappearance.
She originally found the job at a hotel not too far from where her car was discovered in Maryland, but she only worked part-time. She was looking for full-time employment. The hotel owner knew of another hotel in the West Virginia area that was looking for full-time help. She traveled down there, she did get hired, and she ended up working there full-time and living there. We're still looking in to see who might have helped her move from Maryland to West Virginia, who her friends were, who she had contact with.
Once again, Michelle McMullen has vanished, leaving only a few scattered clues and a trail of unanswered questions.
I never in a million years would have expected this case to take the turns and twists that it did, where she's a missing person, her car gets discovered, she's using false names, she runs out of the hotel, we're still trying to find her. It just, and never would imagine this in a million years for this case.
Michelle's family prays for her safety, wherever she is. Her father's biggest worry?
That something's going to happen to her while she's in the transit. That's my biggest concern, is that, yes, okay, up to this point, maybe she's been safe, or maybe not. We don't know what she's had to endure to get to where she is at this point.
Your child is out there, you know, and if she is running, who does she know? She doesn't know anybody, but just feeling, it's really unexplainable, just like an emptiness, a piece is missing, and you want to find your child.
After reviewing the evidence, the Harrisburg Bureau of Police closes their missing persons case. But for Michelle's parents, the case is far from over. Their lives are still full of uncertainty and fear for their daughter.
I can't think about the negative aspects of this. I have to think about finding her, period. And that's what I've been asking other people to do.
Michelle's son Jaden still waits, wondering when he will see his mother again.
Sometimes, you know, he's the average 6-year-old boy, and then at other times he's like that little child that's like, where's my mom? That's his words, where's my mom?
2 years go by. The trail goes cold, and Michelle's parents wrestle with the possibility that they may never know what happened to their daughter. On January 21st, 2011, police in Oakland, California get a startling call, which breaks the case wide open. A disappeared viewer has recognized Michelle at a hair salon. The Oakland police team up with the FBI, and 4 days later, they raid the salon. Michelle, who has been living under an assumed name, tries to flee, but is caught and arrested. On March 4th, 2011, Michelle McMullen is extradited to Pennsylvania to face charges of theft and forgery for crimes dating back to 2008. Her lawyer has stated that Michelle is guilty of theft, but that the amount has been grossly inflated. Her family now knows where Michelle is, but they are left to face a new and difficult chapter in their lives. Tanya Ryder disappeared on Thursday, September 20th, 2007. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Tanya Ryder's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A hardworking woman heads home to catch some sleep after her overnight shift.
As far as I knew, Tanya was just going about her normal day. She would have been getting off work and then heading home.
But she never makes it.
All of a sudden, she's not where she's supposed to be.
She disappeared into thin air, as far as we could tell.
Without a single clue, her husband must search for her, alone.
The not knowing is enough to make you go insane.
Tom is having the battle of his life.
I was waging a one-man battle against overwhelming odds just to even get heard.
To reach the shocking conclusion that turns into a media sensation.
Whoa, what's going on here?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Thursday, September 20th, 2007, is an ordinary autumn day in Bellevue, Washington, just east of Seattle. The day unfolds on schedule for 33-year-old Tanya Ryder.
Tanya actually had two jobs. One of them was at Fred Meyer in the health and beauty aid section as a stalker. That's an overnight shift.
She finishes her overnight shift at 9 o'clock that morning. From Bellevue, she will head down Highway 169 to her home in Maple Valley for a few hours of sleep. And later, she will return to Bellevue for her day job, overseeing the fitting room at a department store.
She was a dedicated worker. If she said she would be there 5 minutes early or 15 minutes early, she was there on the dime.
Tanya's husband, 39-year-old Tom Ryder, also works two jobs. By day, he clears land for new housing. By night, he delivers pizza.
We were working insane hours, but we had a goal in sight.
They're building their dream house, overlooking the tranquil Puget Sound.
Well, the idea behind all of this work and all of these hours was to make sure we had enough money to complete the house.
Well, they felt that if they put in a lot of hard work and a lot of long hours, that they could eventually slow down and enjoy the house and each other.
Tanya and Tom have been happily married for 7 years. Like many couples, their personalities are actually quite different.
Tom is very vocal, very jovial, very outspoken. He's a prankster, whereas Tanya is very quiet. She doesn't speak unless she has something to say, and Tom will just talk your ear off.
I'm an outgoing, boisterous idiot. Tanya's the other half of me. She's able to keep me in line.
If you have Tanya here, you have Tom there to balance her. This is the marriage made in heaven.
For now, Tom and Tanya Ryder are living in a house in Maple Valley. Their heavy-duty routine leaves them with little time to relax. They pass through the house at different times and can easily go 3 or 4 days without seeing each other.
We had to schedule a time when our days off matched to actually even say hello. That's pretty crazy.
On Wednesday evening, Tom and Tanya enjoy a rare moment of togetherness.
She was home that night when I got home, so we actually got to talk a little bit and have a little, family time. I made her laugh, she made me laugh.
Later that night, Tanya works her overnight shift at the grocery store in Bellevue. At 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, Tanya leaves the store and starts to head home.
Well, as far as I knew, Tanya was just going about her normal day. I mean, she would have been getting off work at 9 o'clock, having breakfast, and then heading home.
Little does Tom know, Tanya never makes it home that day. Three days since Tom last saw Tanya, he's on the job, clearing a housing tract in Maple Valley.
The city was requiring the wetlands be cleared of all what they called hostile vegetation, which is like blackberry bushes.
Around 10 a.m., Tom's cell phone rings. It's Tanya's boss at her daytime job in Bellevue.
She tells me that Tanya hasn't showed up to her last 2 shifts. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to get Tanya in trouble. Maybe she just overslept. I'm trying to keep my calm and telling her, well, I'll try and get a hold of Tanya and have her call you.
Concerned, Tom immediately calls Tanya's cell phone.
I started walking back to my truck and dialing Tanya's phone number. She didn't set up her voicemail, so it goes to the little message that says, the cellular customer you are trying to reach has not set up his voicemail box yet.
Mailbox cannot accept new messages at this time. Please try again later. Goodbye.
She may not answer anyone else's calling in, but she'll answer mine. So now I'm starting to worry.
Tom drives to their home in Maple Valley, thinking that perhaps Tanya is there.
I make it to the door and I go, Tanya! And no answer, so I go and I check the downstairs. I double back and go up the staircase, and we have 3 bedrooms up there, and she's not in any of them.
Tom checks the garage. Tanya's car is not there.
The more I'm checking and not finding her, the more the panic is building inside me.
Desperate to locate Tanya, Tom makes an emergency phone call.
911, what are you reporting?
My wife didn't show up for work last night, and she's not home, and I haven't heard from her in 2 days. Can you just check and see if there are any accidents involved on your rider, R-I-D-E-R?
I'm not showing any injury accidents in that area, but I can connect you with State Patrol, and you can check if there are any injury accidents on the freeway.
The 911 operator tells him there are no reports of an accident on the highway either. But this doesn't bring Tom any relief. In a single morning, Tom's world is turned upside down.
So at this point, I start to I'm losing it. I start thinking about what could have happened.
For Tom, the reality of the situation starts to set in. No one has seen Tanya since she left her overnight shift at the grocery store Thursday morning.
Tom realizes, oh my God, she's been gone and unaccounted for in everybody's life for 2 days.
Coming up, the clock is ticking, and Tom is struggling to get police to investigate Tanya's disappearance.
I was furious. I was not gonna let them not do their job.
39-year-old Tom Ryder has just learned that his wife Tanya has not reported for work in 48 hours. She's not at home either, and she's not answering her cell phone.
I'm pretty much starting to panic at this point because Tanya will answer my phone calls when I call.
All of a sudden, she's not where she's supposed to be. He knew there was something wrong.
My adrenaline was pumping. I was having trouble breathing right. It's just, where is she?
There is one more place Tom Ryder thinks to check.
I'm headed to her second job, just in case. That's my last safe possibility that's in my brain, is that they've changed her shift and she had to work at her second job.
On the highway to Bellevue, Tom keeps trying her cell phone. There's no answer.
So, of course, his mind starts playing mind games. The what if? Has someone kidnapped her? Is she alive? Is she dead?
Somebody stole her car. Somebody robbed her at gunpoint. She's got amnesia and she's in the hospital and they stole her wallet and have her ID. All these different possibilities are just flooding into my mind.
Nearing Bellevue, Tom calls 911 again. This time, he wants to report his wife missing.
911 connects him with the Bellevue Police Department, and they make arrangements to meet him and interview him to see what's going on with his wife.
Minutes later, Tom arrives at the department store where Tanya works. He meets the store manager, and they start talking before the police arrive. The manager tells Tom that Tanya is due at the store within the hour for her regular shift at 1 o'clock that day. Tom waits anxiously to see if Tanya will show up for work.
My brain is still trying to cling to the safe possibilities. It's still trying to believe that she's going to be here and everything's going to be all right.
1 o'clock passes. No Tanya.
When she had a schedule, she stuck to it. And so Tom knows that when she has not shown up for work, he has a reason to be really alarmed.
For Tom, there is no longer any question about it. Tanya has truly disappeared.
It was painful and scary, and it was like someone had just torn duct tape off of my eyes. I was in a mode that I hope no one ever has to go through.
Soon, responding to Tom's 911 call, a Bellevue police officer arrives at the department store. He questions Tom.
What does your wife look like? When was the last time she was seen? What was she wearing? Have there been any disputes between you?
The officer determines Tanya's last known whereabouts were at her nighttime job. Immediately, they call the grocery store to speak with Tanya's boss, who is able to locate a security video that shows Tanya leaving the store at 9 a.m. on Thursday, September 20th. It's the last time anyone sees Tanya Ryder.
The tape showed Tanya leaving, walking into the parking lot, apparently normal. No one was following her.
They do have her leaving at 9 o'clock in the morning, Thursday the 20th, and getting into her car and driving away.
She didn't look stressed, like she was being followed.
Because the tape shows Tanya heading home to Maple Valley in her own car, on her own free will, the officer informs Tom he will have to refile a report with the King County Police. John Urquhart is a sergeant at that precinct.
Bellevue decided she lives in Maple Valley, our jurisdiction. Therefore, the King County Sheriff's Office will have jurisdiction.
Tom immediately heads back to his home in Maple Valley.
I know, based on a conversation I had with the officer, that I won't get referred to the right 911 operator until I get closer to home.
As soon as he crosses the county line, Tom calls 911 from the car. This time, he's connected to a King County emergency operator.
My wife is missing. My wife's name is Tanya Ryder.
He goes through the story again, and he couldn't find any record of her being in an automobile accident, so there had to be some other explanation what had happened to her. And he was quite insistent. Something else is going on here. You need to help me.
Tom urges the King County operator to file a missing persons report for Tanya, but the operator declines to file the report. Before anything else can happen, the operator tells Tom, he must check the local hospitals and jails for Tanya.
The moment that I'm making those phone calls, calling the jails, calling the morgues, calling the hospitals, I'm praying that it's the wrong way, that I'm looking in the wrong direction, but I have to look.
There's no record of Tanya anywhere.
So I call back the 911 operator. She's not in any of your jails. She's not in any of your hospitals. She's not in any of your morgues. She's not at home. My wife is missing.
For a second time, Tom asks the operator to file a missing persons report for Tanya.
Just because she's missed work, did you guys have any arguments?
No.
Discussions, problems? Have you checked any other family members in the
Buying
area?
a house in Maple Valley.
Have you contacted any other family members that she may go to?
And talk to her family members.
Again, the operator declines to file the report, insisting that Tom must try contacting Tanya's friends and family members.
History has told us in other cases, it's very, very important for family members to be contacted. Oftentimes that'll solve the case very quickly.
I haven't called her family in years. I called each and every one of them.
And they didn't have a close relationship, and they haven't heard from her in months.
Tom calls King County 911 a third time. He knows with each passing minute, Tanya could be in danger. So he pleads with the operator to take the report so the search for Tanya can begin.
He's very, very insistent. He says, I've called the family members, I've called the hospitals, I've called the morgue, I've called the jail. I've done all you've asked me to do.
They're gonna have to take a report now. Now it's their turn, is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking now they're gonna come on board, now they're gonna start looking for my wife.
But instead, the operator declines to file a missing persons report for a third time. He cites certain criteria that Tanya's disappearance must meet before it becomes an active case.
Is the person suicidal? Are they being treated for a mental health issue? Are they elderly? Is there some sort of suspicious circumstance that surrounds their disappearance?
But Tanya's disappearance does not meet any of them.
Can you send an officer over to at least take the report?
Officers don't take these reports in person. She does not meet criteria for to take a missing persons report on. She is an adult. She's not been suicidal. What we're telling you is that she doesn't meet the criteria.
Tomorrow.
Okay, what we're telling you is that she doesn't meet the criteria. Okay, we don't go actively searching for missing people, sir.
When the checkbooks are here, I'm telling you something has happened to my wife.
The 911 operator suggests to Tom that Tanya likely left on her own.
She's a normal, adult, working female, and she disappeared, which is her right.
She's over the age of 18. She's an adult. She can go where she wants, and she doesn't have to tell you.
Shocked by the operator's refusal to file a missing persons report, Tom struggles to contain his anger.
You're treating it like, oh, well, this idiot, his wife just left him, and oh, hell with it. How long does she have to be missing before you'll take a report?
There is no set time.
So what you're telling me is unless she turns up dead, you're not going to care.
At this point, I am trying very hard to keep an even keel in my voice. If I knew where he was, I would have been down there forcing his hand to write the report.
4 days after she was last seen, no official search for Tanya Ryder is underway. 3 911 calls from Tom Ryder have failed to initiate an investigation, and he fears that the longer it takes to start looking for her, the less likely they will find her alive. If Tanya is in danger, the police need to get involved, and the clock is ticking.
Tom at this point is at a loss for what to do without any help, so he has to take it on himself.
Tom contemplates going to the police station to make his case in person, but he fears that they too will reject his plea to start an investigation. Instead, he decides to take matters into his own hands by involving the media.
I figure I'm gonna force their hand. I figured I'm not gonna let them not look for my wife. I'm gonna call the media and make it loud and messy.
But the news station requires a police-issued case number in order to run a missing person story, to avoid inadvertently reporting false information.
It's a catch-22 because they can't run a story without a case number. And on the other hand, Tom can't get a case number. He has opened every door to obtain an answer, to point him in the right direction, to give him the next step, and all the doors are slammed in his face.
All he can do now is try to search for Tanya on his own. As night falls across the Northwest, Tom Ryder drives up and down the roads of Maple Valley, Washington, looking for his missing wife.
I was just driving back and forth, scanning the edges of the road, looking for any indication that a car had left the roadway.
He's looking everywhere. He's looking in people's windows as he drives by. He's looking for accident scenes. He's looking for grease on the highway.
I lost count on how many times I went back and forth. I was panicking.
Late that night, Tom thinks of one final scenario. Perhaps Tanya has retreated to the site of their future dream house.
Maybe she's just frazzled and she's out at the property trying to relax her nerves. I'm not believing it for 1 second, but there's no way I'm not going to go check.
Tom drives 92 miles to see if Tanya is there. But she is still nowhere to be found.
Hours are ticking by, minutes are ticking by, and Tanya is still missing.
Coming up, Tom fights to get his wife's case activated.
These people aren't helping me. In fact, they're standing in my way. And inside me, something snapped.
"39-year-old Tom Ryder is devastated. His wife Tanya has disappeared.
It's crazy. The man was trying to hold it together as his life is falling apart.
He's also furious. Despite repeated calls to 911, Tom can't get police to launch a missing persons case.
I was waging a one-man battle against overwhelming odds just to even get heard.
But time is of the essence, and Tom knows he needs the police if he has any chance of finding his wife.
I know I can't do it all myself. I know I need their help. The chances of finding her were better with more people looking.
Four days have now passed since Tanya Ryder went missing. Tom makes his fourth call in 48 hours to 911.
Operator 65. It's Tom Ryder again.
This time, to Tom's surprise, he gets a different response.
This different operator made a different subjective decision from the standpoint that Tom had done everything else we'd asked him to do, and she's still not home.
I believe that she suddenly met the criteria because they figured out that I wasn't going to go away.
What's going to happen is we're going to list her, and if someone runs her name anywhere in the country, they will know that she is missing, and they'll call.
The King County Police finally agree to take a missing persons report.
And he's really kind of shocked. Wow, the door opened.
The name Tanya Ryder is finally in the system.
And they said, well, we're going to send an officer out to take your statement.
And that was a great relief for Tom. He couldn't relax, but at least he could grab a breath.
5 hours later, a King County police officer arrives at Tom's home in Maple Valley.
He hasn't even gotten out of the car yet, and I'm standing there waiting for him at his door. I tell him the same things that I told the 911 operator. I need your help to find my wife.
Tom invites the officer to search his home.
I say, if you'd like to search my house, you don't need a warrant. You can look right now.
Tom wants the police department to know, I want you to do whatever you have to do in the least amount of time to do it in order to find my wife. There's something wrong. I feel like she's in danger.
Although Tom is being very forthcoming, in these cases, the husband often becomes the #1 suspect.
He asked me to wait in the driveway because he wants to search the house without me leading him or anything like that.
We're real interested in kind of looking around and determining, did she pack a bag or personal items missing, wallet, credit cards, money, that sort of thing.
He doesn't see any blood spatter. He doesn't see furniture turned upside down. He doesn't see any indication of dispute.
He noticed the things that I was telling him, that her paychecks were on the banister, her bank card was on the counter.
Nothing was missing from the house, and in fact, some of her credit cards were still there.
The officer tells Tom that a King County sergeant will still have to determine whether or not a detective will take the case.
So again, Tom is kind of one step forward, 2 steps back.
But meanwhile, Tanya's disappearance has a case number now, so the media will run the story.
He gets it out on the news to let the public know that his wife is missing.
Bellevue police say a surveillance tape shows the 33-year-old 5'10" blonde woman getting into her car and driving away as normal as can be.
Tom says there is no reason for her to run away, and now he's putting up a $25,000 reward to help find her.
I called every local media outlet at this point. I was going to make sure there was going to be an investigation.
It's the 5th day since Tanya Ryder went missing. After another sleepless night, Tom goes to work.
It's the only thing I knew to keep my mind from going over the endless scenario of possibilities. If I was doing nothing, I was thinking these horrific thoughts.
After seeing all the news coverage, Tom's boss asks his employees to draw up hundreds of flyers. They email copies to as many people as they can.
By 10 o'clock that morning, they had flyers from Canada all the way down to Oregon and all the way over to Utah.
They, of all the people, knew what type of a couple Tom and Tanya Ryder were and how devastated Tom was. So anything that they could do and jump in and help him, they were there.
At King County Police Headquarters, officials finally decide to hand Tanya's case to a detective.
So we didn't find anything that really told us she left voluntarily, nothing that said she didn't leave voluntarily or had been a victim of foul play. So at that point, there certainly was enough questions as to where she was, so the detectives needed to do follow-up work beginning first thing Monday morning.
To start the investigation, the detective needs Tanya's banking information so police can track any recent activity on her accounts.
We asked Tom, what kind of credit cards or checking accounts does she have?
They need credit card information. They need bank statements and accounts and PIN numbers and codes.
I told him that we had a joint account and a joint savings account, and that Tanya had a Nordstrom Visa, and that's all she has with her.
Later that day, Tom tries again to reach Tanya. He can't let go of the feeling that she's out there, somewhere.
I decided to try and call her phone again because it's been giving me this weird feeling of knowing if her phone's still alive, maybe she is. And when I called this time, it went straight to the message. It didn't ring at all, which meant the battery died.
Whatever hope Tom has that Tanya is alive evaporates.
There's nothing left that I can do. I've done everything that I can do. And inside me, something snapped. I kind of fell down and I couldn't get up. Can't move.
Just when he's lost all hope, Tom's cell phone rings. It's the King County investigator. With some incredible news. Police have tracked activity on one of Tanya's bank accounts.
We're going, whoa, what's going on here? Somebody's using that card.
Coming up, a surprising tip leads police to an unexpected interrogation.
And something's not right with this guy's story. And something's just not right with this guy's story.
39-year-old Tom Ryder is experiencing the single worst trauma of his life. His wife, Tanya, has disappeared.
I'm feeling hopeless. I'm feeling completely powerless.
But 4 days after Tanya's disappearance, police think they have a break. There is some activity on one of Tanya's bank accounts.
The detective calls Tom and lets him know that there's a ray of hope.
It basically gave me the impression that Tanya was alive, and that she was out there and she was okay.
Tom calls the detective on his wife's case to inquire about the details of the new discovery.
I asked her specifically what account she was monitoring that she saw activity on. She said, I saw activity on Tanya's checking account.
As far as we knew, she had the only access to the account. Therefore, any activity on the account would be through her debit card.
Unfortunately, there is a mix-up with the account information.
I said, that's a joint account. That was me. I put the gas in my truck because I was out looking for her and ran out of cash.
Tom realized it was his purchase off of the card, and it was nothing to do with Tanya. And so he was again devastated.
Amid the confusion, one thing becomes clear. There is no activity on any of the accounts that connect to Tanya Ryder. Which means there are still no leads in the case, no evidence to suggest foul play, and no clues to where Tanya Ryder might be.
There has to be some evidence of where she might be to give us a starting point, and we didn't have that. Again, she disappeared into thin air, as far as we could tell.
Now that the bank records are a dead end, Tom demands police start physically searching for Tanya.
A natural reaction of people is call out search and rescue, call out your helicopter, go look for her.
But police insist that without a hard lead, there's little point beginning a search.
Remember, we've got her leaving the city of Bellevue, driving 20-some miles to Maple Valley. That's a big area. So where do you search for Tanya Ryder? The reality is you don't, because she could have gone anywhere.
Tom also demands that they check Tanya's cell phone records.
He's also thinking, why can't they get information from the cell phone company?
I knew they had the ability to trace a cell phone's location to within a cell tower's radius.
But legally, the cell phone company can't just give that kind of information to police.
The problem is people have a right to privacy. People expect that the police are not going to be able to trace their movements unless there's a reason to do so.
In order to obtain the records, the phone company requires a warrant. But King County Police can't get one.
In the state of Washington, to get a search warrant, you have to have probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. And at this point, we did not have probable cause to believe a crime had been committed. We didn't have an inkling or a suspicion that crime had been committed, much less probable cause.
With no other leads in sight, King County detectives continue to pursue Tanya's cell phone records. Meanwhile, Tom is breaking down from the seemingly hopeless investigation.
Tom is beside himself. He's sleep deprived. He can't keep food down, and he starts breaking down. He's wasting away, mentally and physically.
When you're living through it, it is 100% nightmare. It is everything in your world slows down to a crawl. I was losing all control. And the whole time, you cannot take your mind off of the well-being of your loved one.
But the situation is about to get far worse for Tom. Tanya's boss at the grocery store where she was last seen calls police to voice doubts about him.
This is calling from the Bellevue Fred Meyer store because I wanted to get some information for somebody because one of my employees is missing. Something's not right with this guy's story. And I just need to let somebody know that. Something's just not right with this guy's story.
Eight days have now passed since Tanya Ryder disappeared. The recent suspicion raised by Tanya's boss is the only thing police have to go on. So they turn their attention to the husband, a usual suspect in these types of cases. But they have no evidence against Tom Ryder.
We have to eliminate people from being a suspect in cases like this. And certainly the husband is the #1 suspect. Absent some other sort of evidence that might implicate him, what we decided to do was give him a lie detector test, put him on the polygraph, and see how he does.
I get a call from the detective. Can you come in for an interview? No problem. I got nothing to hide. They just wanted to get some facts straight.
Tom heads to the Kent Justice Center, where he sits for a preliminary interview before the polygraph. As the interview progresses, the nature of the questions starts to irritate Tom.
Was your wife all right the last time you saw her? Was your wife unharmed? Did you do anything to anger her? So it's just, did you hurt your wife? Everything except for, did you kill your wife?
Tom gets the feeling police are doubting his innocence.
They were trying to coax a confession out of me. They had made up their minds that I had done something.
All he could think of was, are they waiting for me to stand up and scream, I'm guilty? I murdered her?
I wasn't fully aware of just how rattled I already was. It was like, this is it. They're going to be crucifying me down here.
Aching with fatigue, Tom feels the walls closing in on him.
My wife never laid a hand on her, never raised a finger to her. I haven't done anything. I knew I was at my breaking point.
Coming up, the stunning conclusion to Tanya Ryder's mysterious disappearance.
So we put detectives out looking to see what they could find. I mean, it's a needle in a haystack.
In the span of 1 week, Tom Ryder has gone from a loving husband to a person being questioned about his wife's disappearance. Now, Tanya's boss is raising suspicions about Tom to the police.
Something's not right with this guy's story. And I just need to let somebody know that. Something's just not right with this guy's story.
Since there are no other leads in the case, police ask Tom Ryder to take a polygraph.
He's thinking, these people want to prove me guilty.
They wanted me to rule myself out or convict myself.
While following up on the lead from Tanya's boss, police are still pursuing a warrant so the phone company can release Tanya's cell phone records.
This is something that took time and a tremendous amount of frustration that we couldn't get to those cell phone records.
Finally, there's a break. A sympathetic judge signs the warrant, and police are able to retrieve Tanya's cell phone records. The information they obtain takes the investigation in a completely new direction.
The detectives were able to look at the records and determine which tower was accessed. They were able to narrow that down into essentially a pie-shaped area, 3 to 5 miles out in a particular direction.
The latest is that it's actually hitting off the southeast of that tower. We can give you the latitude, longitude of that tower.
Within this area is the highway Tanya Ryder takes on her daily commute.
So now we know she was probably on her way home. So we put detectives out walking down that highway looking to see what they could find. We fan out on each side of the roadway and just start walking down the shoulder. And this is a state highway. There's a lot of traffic, 50,000 cars a day on this roadway. I mean, it's a needle in a haystack.
As detectives are grilling Tom Ryder, police continue with the Maple Valley Fire Department to search desperately for any clues.
It could have been just the phone tossed out of the car, or it could be the whole car, or nothing at all.
At 3:20 p.m., officials make an astonishing discovery.
We found a vehicle about a quarter mile south of the south end of Jones Road.
He finds the car down an embankment off the highway, totally out of sight, but the car's down an embankment about 12 feet, upside down, and Tanya Ryder is hanging upside down, still in that car 7 days later.
Rescue workers are in shock. They check inside the car to see if Tanya is alive.
170, we got movement.
We got movement. County, I need an aid car, please.
Okay.
This is that missing female, Tanya Ryder, that was on the news. We found her vehicle, and she's still moving inside of it. Oh, my God, this was a car accident. I think a car accident, and she's been trapped for this long.
Okay.
Wow.
Tanya Ryder has been in a terrible car accident and has been trapped 10 feet below the highway. Almost unbelievably, 8 days later, she is still alive.
The car was on its side in a precarious spot, driver's side down, so she was on her side for 8 days, hanging from the seatbelt. The airbags had deployed.
We opened the door and made contact with Miss Ryder. She was on her left side, suspended by her seatbelt in her seat, unable to reach anything, and she looked like she was hurting. She was just laying very quiet and just asking for help.
Officers on the scene report the stunning turn of events to King County headquarters, where Tom Ryder is trying to rule himself out as a suspect. They give him the news.
He said, "We found her car." It was at that moment, the moment that I almost collapsed. And I said, "Is she all right?"
Miracle survivor, a woman missing for 8 days, turns up alive, trapped in her car, thanks to her cell phone.
A woman who was missing for more than a week has turned up alive just as police were getting ready to question her husband about her disappearance.
Her seatbelt suspended in her car. Ryder was dehydrated but conscious.
Firefighters carefully remove Tanya from the car. She has been without any food or water for 8 days, and she is suffering many severe injuries.
She was then placed in the back of the medic unit and then airlifted to Harborview Hospital.
Her organs had started shutting down because of lack of water intake. She had broken bones. They thought that she was going to lose her leg. She was in horrible shape.
Doctors tell Tom that in a few more hours, Tanya might not have survived.
My wife is in critical condition and fighting for her life. Because of the way she was pinned, and they're hoping not, but they may have to take one of her legs. The only thing I ask of them is to give her the best chance.
Miraculously, doctors save Tanya's leg, but her condition remains critical. Hours after the rescue, Tanya Ryder wakes up in the hospital.
The first thing I remember is waking up and seeing a nurse next to me and feeling very thirsty. I wasn't aware of what had happened to my body.
Tom and Tanya's reunion is emotional for both of them.
I didn't really understand everything that was going on, but when I saw Tom, I saw my comfort space. I knew everything was going to be okay.
She recognized me, and I saw tears well up in her eyes. Her expression softened, the tears started to flow, and she knew that I was there. And I love her more than I love my own life. It was a big relief, but it was also absolute pain to see my wife bandaged from head to toe.
Tanya's car was found less than 6 miles from their home in Maple Valley, a fact that haunts Tom to this day.
I drove right past where she was off the road and couldn't see her, but I didn't know it. I drove right by her lots of times. I didn't know it.
In the aftermath of their extraordinary ordeal, Tom struggles to balance gratitude with rage.
She was in that car for 8 days. All I know is no one else should have to go through what she went through. When the simple pinging of a cell phone could have led him to her in an hour.
1 week after Tanya's rescue, the King County Sheriff holds a news conference and apologizes to the Ryders for the limitations of the sheriff's office in this particular case and for the frustrations Tom endured. Today, 3 years after the accident, Tanya and Tom still live in Maple Valley. Their dream house is on hold for now. Tom is working with writer Jan Sidnam on a book about Tanya's remarkable ordeal.
I sure hope that no one else has to go through what we went through. That's our hope with this book.
Tanya still struggles with physical repercussions from her time in the crushed vehicle. She says she retains no memory of the crash or what came after. Instead, she is sustained by the fact that she survived.
I feel that God has a reason to have me here. Definitely a miracle. There's a higher power involved with why I'm alive.
Some people aren't that lucky. Of course I feel lucky. How could I not? I got my wife back.
I just try and take each day and appreciate what I have and move forward with that. Some days it's different than others, and I just take it as it comes.